Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. So I'm going to be reading chapter 2 of the Christmasaurus. So chapter 2, the frozen egg. Far away from William's wonky little house, snowflakes were falling from enormous fluffy snow clouds. They were the thickest snowflakes you could ever imagine. If you were to stick out your tongue to catch one in your mouth, you would feel so full up that you wouldn't need to eat any dinner. That's how thick these snowflakes were. They weren't ordinary snowflakes, because this was the North Pole, and in the North Pole nothing is ordinary. The snowflakes hit the ground with a thud that echoed from the surrounding mountains like the constant drumming of a marching band. Thud, thud, thud. But that wasn't the only sound that could be heard. If you listened closely, you could hear voices deep underground, singing together in time with the thudding of the snowflakes. These were the voices of the North Pole elves, the very same ones that Mr. Trundle had just told William about. They were singing their digging song, which went something like this. Dig, diggity dig, diggity dig, diggity 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 dig, diggity dig, diggity dig, diggity diggity dig. Oh, the dwarfs that dip for diamonds sing hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho. And the fairies flying high all say hello, 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 hello. But we're not fairies or dwarfs, we're Santa's elves, of course. And the reason why we're diggity digging through the snow, we're digging up the toys and games and stuff. We'll keep on digging through, most of us. Can't feel our fingers, can't feel our toes. But we'll keep digging through the ice and snow. The elves made up songs like this all the time. In fact, the elves of the North Pole didn't speak normally at all, ever. They only spoke in rhyme. For example, if a North Pole elf wanted a glass of orange juice, they would never just say, "Can I have a glass of orange juice, please?" The elf would say something like, "Can I have some orange juice, please, freshly picked and freshly squeezed? Peel off the skin and pop out the pips, and give me extra juicy bits." Or if a North Pole elf were to say good morning to another North Pole elf, they would say, "Good morning, fellow North Pole elf, I hope your day brings lots of wealth. But if it doesn't, don't worry yourself, be thankful that you've got your health." They had rhymes and songs for every occasion and were making new ones up all the time. Some were rather good and others were awful, but they would sing them just the same. On this particularly chilly December day of digging, there were 8 elves out in the ice mines underneath the snowfields of the North Pole. Their names were Snozzletrump, Specklehump, Sparklefoot, Sugarsnout, Starlump, Spudcheeks, Snowcrump, and Sprout. They were very small, just as Mr. Trundle had said, only about as tall as your left knee, and they all wore the most wonderfully peculiar clothes, from dresses made of teacups to fluffy coats covered in northern light bulbs. They were quite a spectacular sight. Every elf had a different but equally important job. Snozzletrump dug the hole. Specklehump held the lantern so that Snozzletrump could see. Sparklefoot lit a fire. Sugarsnout boiled the kettle. Starlump made the tea. Spudcheeks toasted 4 crumpets, half a crumpet for each elf. Snowcrump buttered the crumpets, and Sprout kept watch. They had been digging holes, eating crumpets and drinking tea all morning, and were starting to think about lunch. The North Pole elves were very small, but were always very hungry. "We've no more crumpets left to munch," said Sprout. "I'm hungry, let's go back for lunch." But Snozzletrump wasn't listening. Snozzletrump was inside a long tunnel he'd been digging in the ice for the past 2 hours. He was deep in thought and lost in song. He was singing to himself, "I've been digging through snow and ice for many days and countless nights, so that every girl and every boy gets a special Christmas egg." There was a great gasp from all the elves. Spud Cheeks even dropped his half crumpet in the snow, buttered side down. "That line don't rhyme," chimed Snowcrumb from the back of the concerned group. It was very rare that a North Pole elf would ever not rhyme. "I seem to have found something strange in the ground," yelled Snuzzletrump, coming back to his rhyming senses. The 7 elves outside the tunnel dropped their tea and crumpets at once and rushed forward to take a look. Specklehump adjusted the great brass lantern he was carrying on a long pole so that it shone its light over their heads. The ice tunnel lit up in great blues and yellows, and what the elves saw left them all completely gobble-mouthed, poky-eyed, wonky-brained and confused. It was an enormous, frozen egg. Most of the elves were more than 200 years old and had seen all sorts of weird, wacky things in the North Pole, but never, ever had any of them seen an egg frozen in the ice. They started whispering and gossiping to each other, in rhyme obviously, trying to get a better peep at the beautiful shiny shell of the egg, which was stuck halfway out of the ice. As they all nudged closer, there was such a kerfuffle that an argument broke out between Sugarsnout and Snuzzletrump, which to you and me would have sounded rather like a chirpy duet. It went a little like this. "There's an egg under the snow. How did it get here? I don't know. Well, dig it up, let's take it back. Dig it up, but it might crack. We can't leave it stuck in the ice. We could cook it for dinner, it might taste nice. Cook it, you can't do that. There's something inside it waiting to hatch." Just as Snuzzletrump finished singing his line, something happened that made all the elves jump. The egg wobbled. There was a great silence in the tunnel as the elves huddled together, staring at the egg. There was something inside it all right, something alive. Then all at once, as if they had been planning this routine for months, the elves started singing together in perfect unison. "Dig up the egg, let's take it back. Dig up the egg so it can hatch. Dig up the egg so we can find what sort of things alive inside. A frozen fish, a chili chicken, Santa will know, so let's start digging." All the elves worked together to carefully dig out the egg. It was a tricky, fiddly business that only North Pole elves could do. If humans had found the egg, it would have been squish, flattened like a pancake, but the elves were gentle, expert diggers. Sugarsnout used the steam from the pot of tea to melt the most solidly frozen layer of ice. Snowcrumb used his buttery crumpet knife to gently chip away pieces of ice from around the egg. Starlump brushed away the loose snow, while Sprout hopped up and down excitedly, shouting encouraging rhymes to help, with a mouthful of crumpet, of course. After only 15 minutes and 22 seconds, the stuck egg popped free from the ice. All the elves took their wonderfully thick coats and scarves and wrapped them around the giant egg. It was taller than an elf standing on another elf's shoulders, fatter than 3 elves, and heavier than all 8 of the elves put together. It took a great effort for them to carry it, but if there's one thing elves are good at, it's teamwork. They all bunched together with the freezing North Pole wind whooshing over their cold arms, and they carried that frozen egg out of the ice mines, over the snowfields, and took it to the wisest person they knew, the only person who would know what to do with a frozen egg in the North Pole: Santa. Okay, that's the end of chapter 2. I will come back with you for another video soon.